Well, I'm intrigued to find how helpful Elon Musk's YouTube video on the importance of the 1 hour, his 1 hour rule each day devoted to I gather your true purposes, your goal, and to make, in some sense, he makes that hour sacred, I guess. He's not saying that, of course, in as many words, but he is in a sense, I think. Now, I'm thinking, well, okay, casting it more in my view, I would say, right, what is my priority for this time? Well, it's something to do with our Heavenly God and our life eternal. It's presented in John 17 as our most important thing to value. That's what he attends to. And this is to know thee, know God, our Heavenly Dad, as Heavenly Dad. So what I'm saying is that if one is just worldly, okay, then there's a great priority of prioritizing the hour each day, and in the strict way that Elon suggests. And well, in that case, I'm saying that is priority. Is that would not be consistent with me loving God with all my heart and soul. I wouldn't be putting the hour first, or the way I do it, or the routine. I'd be putting knowing him first, in a selfish way, because it gives me life eternal. Yes. Well, given I've been made a separate self, that's understandable. We accept the child is myopic in that, or prioritizing in that myopic way. And of course, what would we say to the child? Look, listen to me, love. Those who have ears to hear, let them hear. Do you see? It's the same thing, isn't it? That's very important, more important actually than what you're thinking at the minute. Do you see? Well, how do you go through my usual routine? I'd say, well, thanks leads best to knowing God, to appreciating him. Appreciation is what counts more than anything else. That's what gives you love, hope, dynamism, vision, love of others. This appreciation, this gratitude that overcomes you when you practice thankfulness. What are you thankful for? A few obvious things. Life eternal, both for ourselves and others. That was my fourth point. My fifth point was if he's an all-powerful God and loves all, then it is actually right at all times, not just ultimately life eternal in some sense, but fullness of life. All the way. Including the past, I might say. What did I have next? 6. Calmness seemed essential. If you're not calm, I don't see how you can have this focus and continually taking the effort to come back to being aware of your goal. It's best gained, I think, by triangular breathing, my elementary view of Kriya Yoga, triangular breathing, which I've talked about elsewhere. I breathe into the count of 7, hold for the count of 7, breathe out for the count of 7, go on to the next breath. You might use a shorter number, of course. And I might do that for whatever length of time seems good Might be 5 minutes. Might be an hour. Might be a couple. Less likely to be a couple, but could be. Now, but coming back to the importance of Elon here, but remember your goal. Don't just be doing it for the routine's sake, or you'll suddenly find that you're lifeless. It is what you're prioritizing, your goal, which in my case is to appreciate God as Heavenly Dad, loves us, and is giving us life eternal, and it's gained through our understanding and knowing and appreciating Him. That's why I'm thanking Him, right? So, that was 7, best gained by triangular breathing, and 8 was prioritizing your goal. Remember that. 9, especially His love of all, including us. Otherwise it becomes very self-centered and narrowly self-centered, whereas our self should embrace all, shouldn't it? 10, well, the breathing, triangular breathing, should therefore be practiced regularly. I don't actually mean specifically at specific times. I mean make sure that as a consequence of your love and determination and your goal, you remember that it is important to practice it very regularly. Not worship the regularity, but practice the fact that, but value that you do it much, because it gives you the calmness that, well, I actually feel gives you the awareness of the thoughts from God that you need. It's one of the great keys. A portal. It's a portal, isn't it? Yes, not a key, a portal. It's a way into the presence of God. I was going to start a list at this point. Well, the first thing from the list was Elon Musk's 1 hour rule, finding it and coming across it, and the inspiration that it's given me here, so to speak. General point then, routine though is not the safeguard that love is. Love truly prioritizes, not routine. Routine is no substitute rather for love. There you are. That's what I made of my, how long? Half an hour of the 1 hour. The first 1 hour I've done it in response to reading, watching Elon's YouTube. It's only 10 minutes long. He's got the right length, hasn't he? Yeah, I was impressed, and he's just talking naturally, straight off the cuff. I thought, wow, I found that inspirational and a confirmation of, I won't say quite my style, because obviously we're individuals, aren't we? But he was himself, as I try to be when I'm recording too. And wow, I was impressed with his. That was great. Gave me a great encouragement. Thank you, Heavenly Dad. Oh, lovely. I got the 4 minutes and thought, hang on, Marshall, you've made the priority your life eternal. And yes, you're extending it to, others and so on, of course. But that's not quite the ranking, is it? What's the most important? To thank Him for loving us. That's everything, because that means that, given He's all-powerful and all-knowing and understanding, etc., etc., it means He chooses to make sure that that which is best for us is so. That's what's absolutely wonderful from the most narrowly selfish point of view, as well as from the all point of view as well, isn't it? That's the wonderful thing about him, that he loves us. And isn't this exactly what we felt was missing in much of the Old Testament, that didn't come across as loving at all, but tyrannically frightening? There's so much so that, someone like Marcion says, well, that's not his God. That's some demiurge, that it's not the God he wants to worship by any means. And one can understand the Gnostic view in that sense, isn't it? What we've called Gnosticism. And why, therefore, Christianity was that originally, before the literalist church developed and stole the ascendance in the religious development of things. And we ended up with Christianity, 1,000 years of dark ages, and then the medieval time, and not good. But, rounding on myself here, perhaps it was good. If God allowed it, it was because that was for the best. Wow. Thank you, Heavenly Dad. You see, it is what, I don't spend much time on it, I know, but, the Lord's Prayer, as it's called, teach us to pray, say the disciples in the story. He says, when you pray, say, Our Father in the heavens, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. In other words, the 1 hour rule of Musk, of Elon, for the person who's following the Jesus story, is going to be loving God. And therefore accepting his will, rather than trying to work out what my will should be. And it's a strange way of accepting his will, because I'm saying that I just take it that he's taking me where I should go, and that it's not me that has to know what that is. Mum and Dad know, in a sense, all the things that are best for me as regards growing up. And they've made sure that's in place. There's a child's gate, so I don't go out and play with the traffic. They don't leave saucepan handles sticking out on the cooker, on the stove, because I might grab one and it pour all over me. There is this safeguard, and it's their purpose in sending me, if you like, to the right school, and or homeschooling me. That would be nice. I'd have loved it if Mum had homeschooled me. It wasn't an option in those days, in England anyway. Well, unless you were really in the country, I think you could do it then. A remote area, remote places. So for the person who's thinking in terms of God, well, the priority is not actually to work out what my priority is. It's already been gained. That's understood to be to love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Yeah. To follow Jesus. Yes, you can put it that way if you like. It depends how you've understood your spiritual purpose, doesn't it? So you may have already sorted out very clearly what your goal is, so that I can watch Elon's video and think, all right, now in my terms, what's my prioritizing? I know. It's I've been working on it for some time. May have taken me 50 years of working on it, but I've been working on it some time. Yes. Thank you, Heavenly Dad. So for me, the hour would be longer or shorter and flexible, I'm afraid, contrary to Elon's approach. But it would be in triangular breathing, whilst I review all that I'm thankful for and let the gratitude overflow my consciousness. And some people wouldn't do it this way. They'd do it by singing spiritual songs. Some would do it by mantra. And some would do it by service, helping others. That's when they're most at their best, at their most spiritual. Isn't that lovely? Thank you, Heavenly Dad. And this is exactly the end of my hour. Thank you, Heavenly Dad.